My name is Bernadette Austin. I'm with the University of California at Davis with the California Department of Pesticide Regulation.
Our mission at the department is to protect public health and the environment. We began developing the notification system in response to all of your interest in having information about pesticides applied around you. The statewide system will build on the regulatory system that we have in place that provides for the safe application of pesticides. And that use is enforced by our Ag Commissioner partners.
I've been working in the fields for 20 years, and I have been sprayed with pesticides, and we never get notifications. People are not thinking about the illnesses that are being inflicted on us because of those pesticides. And one day, you will also be affected by them. And give notifications today. Don't do it tomorrow. Don't wait until there are more deaths.
Farmers do care. They live in your communities. They care that you don't feel that you have enough information. We are working with DPR and look forward to working to develop a system that will provide the type of information that is beneficial to you. The notification needs to be built on a system that provides information and doesn't promote fear. Sign up or opt-in type program so that participants understand the information they get in a notification. A program should be for restricted use pesticides because those are pesticides that have been designated as having a potential higher risk for community members who would actually be impacted by the potential of a drift so that, again, the whole community is not frightened every time there is a notification.
I did notice that there was a lot of spraying going on in the fields. I was not aware that it caused cancer and autism. I have a 5-year-old that has autism. They're spraying stuff. They're not letting the field workers know it. No notifications. The state is not letting them know what's going on in the fields. But I really want the government and the states to know that my parents have to come. They have to take off their clothes outside to not get us sick. But I have a sister that has autism, okay? This is happening in the fields, and nobody's speaking about it.
I ask that you please give us notification 72 hours prior. In my community, we are surrounded by almond and pistachio trees. And up to 80 or 90% of the neighbors there suffer of asthma. So that's why I'm asking that you provide a 72-hour notification. Several neighbors have died from cancer. And please, I ask of you that you notify first. I came from the city of San Jose to live in a rural community, the small city of Cantua Creek. We were super excited alongside my child, my son, to see all the green around us. We arrived during the summer, and we saw an airplane that was spraying. My son was very excited about that. He went up to the roof, and he found it fun to look at the plane, and he took pictures of it. It all was new for us. But all of this changed when after they sprayed a garlic parcel, the next day after that, more than 10 of the bunnies someone had given us to take care of were dead. We did not know how dangerous this was during the spraying and that the spray would fall on top of the fruit. I thought that maybe their cages had some sort of illness inside, so I cleaned them up, I disinfected them. I had some other bunnies that were separated in another cage somewhere else. After I cleaned up this, I moved the bunnies to this other place. But I didn't clean up the fruit I had left outside. They ate during the morning from there, and in the afternoon they were already dead. It hurt me so much to see all the bunnies just lying there dead. How much more can a human being? No money in the world is worth this. Life doesn't have a price. People are getting sick, they're dying, and people in the fields are getting sick. My mother got the fever of the valley. And I think that many of you here, just like I, are poor people that we work in order to survive. We are worried about our bills and we need to work hard.
Would appreciate at least 72 hours notification before a restricted application is done that could possibly affect our community.
We know you need to use pesticides. We know you do not want to ban some of them that should be banned. And it is not okay that the accidents, issues, drifts, and illnesses happening today can be prevented by an effective, easy to use, multilingual system. My father has passed, he was a farm worker, and he would be ashamed that with the technology and research and resources that you have, this has taken so long and costing the lives years, decades for some people, dying early because of this lack of notification. We want notification now.
We have been working in fields where pesticides are being used, and we have not received any training. No one has come to us to say, hey, look, this pesticide that's being used is dangerous. I was working at a company that was growing pistachio trees. They started spraying some trees adjacent to them, and then because of the wind, there was pesticide drift, which got in their eyes, irritating them. But the foreman was not carrying the appropriate solution to wash their eyes, and so they had to just use water to rinse them. Now, these are human lives, and so these pesticides are dangerous, so please, we want notification.
I've noticed how bad pesticides are in first place for health. And it harms health. It makes us cough. And then the stomach ache starts. It's necessary to put a stop to pesticides, which is harming the kids. It affects us as well, the workers, because we come to our house wearing our clothes with our children, with our dirty clothes, which we need to use sometimes the next day because we leave with them.
He trabajado en el campo, en la agricultura, piscando tomates, blueberries,
I have worked in the fields collecting tomatoes, blueberries, chilies, cherries, grapes, and I've got this chronic illness, asthma. This illness affects us both as workers and also it affects our families.
Ya que no nada más está afectando a nosotros como agricultores, como trabajadores, sino también a nuestros niños.
So what I want is to ask for you to have consciousness towards us, the farm workers, because this affects not only us as workers, but also our children, who are the future, who are the ones who will continue on to work to gain our bread for us to eat every day, not just for us to eat, but also you and the state and the country. I've been working for 25 years. And they start spraying and they don't even take us out of the area. And we have fellow workers and then start complaining about headaches because they start spraying this around us and they don't stop the person who's spraying the pesticide while we work. My son has asthma, and we need to know the exact location and the exact time when the pesticides will be sprayed.
The pilot programs do require some level of registration or opt-in system that is inaccessible to many of the community members here. The community members have expressed that they want notification. We want a notification system that tells us the exact time, the exact place, and at least 72 hours notice.
3/4 of the pesticides applied are banned in at least 6 other countries. That's the real problem. I mean, the reason we need notification is because the pesticide regulators in California and the United States are so much weaker than most of our major competitors. So we want a heads up when they use stuff like 1,3-D, which is banned in 34 other countries. We care a lot about safety. You know, my family's never had, issues. And one, the science that we can supply will disagree with that. Farmers suffer much from their pesticide exposure. But two, they already have notification. They're applying it. They know they can protect their families. But as you've heard from many workers today and many people in the community, we don't, and we want to.
Being from a multi-generation family farm that migrated back in the late 1800s, understanding that safe, sustainable use, safety, environmental stewardship, taking care of the community environment is of utmost priority. And it is what's gotten not only my family farm, multiple family farms, working through stringent requirements and regulations has enabled them to pass that on to their family and other families and promote and stimulate the economy for the state of California. As a member of the ag community and most importantly, the entire community, ensuring a successful system is implemented and understanding what does that look like from the DPR, from the folks of all communities of impact, that is extremely important. How is that going to be measured from a key performance indicator standpoint, and how does that translate into the safety of the people? And finally, it's not about me, it's about we, and ensuring a successful, safe system is implemented and in place and willing to work together for the greater good of the community and the environment. Thank you.
The guiding principles of this program, there is 5 of them. Improve equity and transparency, support public health, prioritize health impact, encourage engagement and communication, and complementing existing laws and regulations. When we look at how this pilot has been set up, as ag, we don't feel a sense of community engagement. The most glaring omission of this program is not gathering data from the users, the anonymity function. This is key to making sure that we are reaching members of the community that are actually affected, and this program isn't just providing a bevy of information to special interest groups to push political points. If we want community engagement and to protect our community members, it should be local and community focused, not statewide and anonymous. We recognize that many of the people that will be affected by this and utilize the system are transitionary. They travel through the state, so they need to be able to access the data. We just want to ensure that if this program is utilized, that it is actually protecting our community members.
Kern County was #1 in profits, but yet they're not protecting our community. We can't wait until 2024 to enforce it. There's money now. There's a possibility to use it immediately, so we need your action now.
Once we get the notification system going, is that all we want? Just to know what chemicals that we're going to die from? Is that it? Because let me tell you right now, the food system in this country is what causes all the diseases that we are dying from. Cancer, diabetes, every disease is tied to a very toxic, poisoned food system. I come from families from the Philippines. Our relatives who do not use chemical fertilizers and pesticides, they live to be over 100 years old without ever seeing a doctor, without ever going to a hospital. And they live long, healthy lives. But that's not here. In the California Central Valley, we are surrounded by GMO crops. buy bioengineered crops. And what do they have in them? They have pesticides. They have pesticides in the very seeds, and that's what we are eating, pesticides. I've had family that died from pesticides. An uncle who raised me, by the time he died, he couldn't even hold a spoon in his hand. His hand shook so badly. We had a Halloween party at the school over here, which is just a block down from my house. They sprayed all night. They sprayed the following night.
For the Mexican community, we are afflicted by cancer, and everyone here has breathing difficulties. And so we need an exact location so that we may take actions on behalf of our families. We want what's best for our families, and you're talking about implementing this in 2024. No, let's do it now. We want this for our families to get exact locations now. And this thing with the chemicals, we've been dealing with this for years. And 5 years ago, I was poisoned with sulfur. And it's very difficult for us as parents to try to protect our children even in our own homes. When no one is educating us as to what we should do with the clothes that we have been wearing in the fields. And to me, it's very important that fields that have been fumigated are properly marked so that the following day after they've been fumigated, I won't enter them. Even you could do it yourselves without having to have the government to come here and implement a law to do so. But many of us also have sick children because of the chemicals. So what's impacting our children? ADHD, attention deficit disorder, asthma, allergies. And I don't think that any of you would allow your children to go into a garden that has just been sprayed with pesticides. Lately, chemicals are much stronger than they used to be a few years ago. And I can understand that because farmers want more fruit. But we parents have more sick children because of that. There needs to be a balance between the farmers and their chemicals and the farm workers and their families. I don't think the farmer themselves are going to go out and pick their own fruit from their fields. Without our people, there wouldn't be agriculture, there wouldn't be an economy. Without our people, these companies wouldn't exist.
Por favor, señores, tomen conciencia. El COVID no nos mató, sí no nos mató, pero ustedes con pesticidas sí nos están matando poco a poco. Yo trabajo para personas incapacitadas, voy a sus casas y ¿saben qué es lo más doloroso? Verlos que les amputan las piernas, que sus pulmones están con la fiebre del valle, todo contaminado. Eso, señores, duele, aunque no sea mi hermano, aunque no sea mi papá ni mi mamá. Pero duele porque es un ser humano. Humanícense ustedes, háganse humanos y verán que esta nación va a ser mucho más grande y mucho más productiva.
What I have heard from everyone is that you want healthy communities. And so what we hope at DPR is that we can all work together to implement the notification system.